So you've written a case study, and now it's time to share that case study with others in the class and work on assessing a case study. Develop an assessment or the beginnings of what we call a case brief. Your task now will be to read two of your fellow students' cases and assess it, to offer some written response to the case study that they have written. So I want to walk through briefly what that might look like. These are the sorts of things that we ask as we begin to write a case brief, to offer a cogent response that reflects social and emotional and theological, biblical kinds of responses to the reality that's been presented in the case. So here are 6 or 7 questions to begin to ask in writing an assessment or the beginnings of a brief. Number 1, who are the characters? Who are the players in the story that the case offers? What is the presenting issue? Does the question that the case present at the end seem consistent with your reading of the case? A good case will end with a couple of questions, 1 or 2 questions. Are those the right questions? If they are, then we're on to something. If they're not, then we need to do a little more digging to see there's maybe some unclarity that needs to be attended to as we respond to the case. We can ask the questions that that Richard Osmer presents to us in his book on An Introduction to Practical Theology. I think many of you have read that in one of your earlier courses, but I'd remind you of that. What's going on here? And why is it going on? And with that why question, that should take you into responding to the emotional, social, family system sort of dynamics that may be in play here. And this is a place for you to identify what those are from what you're able to gather from the reading of the case. Then we ask what ought to be going on there. This is the normative question. What's the biblical and theological grounding that is in play or ought to be in play in responding to this case? What are the theological issues that are at stake? Where might we see God at work in here within the case? So we ask that question and respond to that. Then finally, we come to a place where we offer some counsel that would suggest some concrete action. What steps might the minister take? What actions should the minister take in order to bring about some resolution or some movement or some direction forward in the case as it's presented? These offer the kinds of questions that you need to ask as you read your fellow students' case studies and make a written response to them.